I married the love of my life a little over 3 months ago. We are in the depths of winter now here in Germany, and I think it's time I tackled the behemoth number of clips I took while making my wedding dress. It was a very long process, I admit, especially the bodice. I am quite an indecisive person, so I feel like part of the process was just going in circles until I felt strong enough about something to commit. You saw the very first prototype that I made, a Dolores overbust corset pattern by Aranea Black. While I loved the shape it gave me and the overall fit, after sitting on it for a bit, metaphorically and literally, I realized it was too long on my hips and too constrictive for my wedding day. I wanted to eat, I wanted to dance, and to sit comfortably during the day. So I decided that this was not it. At least, not for the wedding. In hindsight, I think I went too much into the other direction after that. I started to, 1, trying to draft my own pattern, using another one as a bit of a base, and 2, not using any boning at all. I got stuck in this part for quite a while, to be honest. I kept tinkering with it and doing mock-up after mock-up after mock-up, never being quite enough what I wanted. I am not a pattern maker. And because of this experience, I have actually started to learn proper pattern drafting this year as one of my goals. It was so frustrating not knowing what to do to get the result that I wanted. And truthfully, there was a lot of guesswork involved. Even then, I think it turned out pretty good, all things considered. It helped me get the silhouette that I wanted, even if the fit was still not quite there. The creative process can be a very rewarding yet very bumpy road. Sometimes it's so important to try things you might like only to realize that it's not what you want. It can feel like a step backwards, and believe me, in the moment it felt like that sometimes, but it never is. It's just redirection. It's a step forward to the result that you do like and will be happy with. There will be times where the road will be full of twists and turns, and there will be others where it might happen to be straightforward for once. The bodice was definitely the former, but the skirt was actually luckily the latter. I knew early on that the fit I wanted was a fuller A-line shape, and since I had spent a couple months at this point obsessing over the perfect top, I really needed a palette cleanser to get my motivation up again. The skirt was quite simple in the sense that it was mostly just full and half circles with a bit of a train. I really wanted something comfortable, as I have stated before. So I went with an 18th century split skirt construction that I have done before. This meant I had to sew the front and the back panels to the waistband separately. And I wanted everything to lay perfectly, so I ended up carefully hand pasting every single layer to the waistband and securing the fabric where the splits were in the circle skirt layers. After sewing it all together and hand sewing the waistband close, I had a skirt. And unlike the bodice, this was not technically super challenging, just mostly tedious. But I made myself a nice comfy workstation on the sofa like you saw, and I could just watch shows while sewing. So it did not end up being so bad. And after seeing it on, it was well worth it. I just needed to hem it, and I waited until my parents came to visit next month for the civil wedding. My mom is also a seamstress, and she could help me cut it while I had it on to make sure it was the perfect length. So I was halfway there already. The skirt was done. But as time went by, the realization that I was a bit in over my head with the bodice came creeping in. I had to accept it. The mock-up was okay, but it was still not perfect, and I really wanted perfect. So after eating a big old slice of humble pie, I started looking for patterns again. And then one day, I found the one. It was the Guinevere bodice by Maison Papier Costume, I think it's called. It had the right shape that I loved, that I had found through my mock-ups, but it had some boning. Less than my first prototype surely, but enough to maybe give it the structure it was lacking. So I went ahead. I bought it and I made one mock-up. And what do you know? After doing a tiny adjustment to the bust, I had it. It was it. That was it. I loved it. And I tried it with the skirt and I just felt happiness, relief, and excitement again, which, if I am honest, I had started to dwindle because of this difficult bodice business. I also ended up having no sleeves, which was also a call out to the first mock-up that I made and my first vision. I will leave you with the Christina of that moment to revel in it.
This is everything I had hoped for and more. This is the perfect combination of the very first prototype that I made, the corset, and all the work that I put on, like drafting my own pattern. Even if I abandoned it, it helped me figure out the shape that I wanted, in the top, in the bottom. Like, it just helped me figure out so many things every step of the way. And it just goes to show that even when I didn't use the prototype I worked on, it's still a win. It was still part of the process. It still helped me get to this, and this is perfect. And I couldn't, like, this is my wedding bodice. This is it. And it's a process, man. It's a process, and it's about finding the one.
And just like that, I was ready to sew the real thing.
Suddenly, the world I used to know, I see it differently. You woke me from a dream, now here's reality. Baby, baby, you are really hurting me. 'Cause every time you tell me I look good in bed, I'm doing fine, but nothing ever changes. And now I see, baby, you are hurting me.
Cutting all the pieces for this was one of the most time-consuming parts of the entire process of making this bodice. I really wanted the color to match perfectly to the skirt, which meant that I needed to cut the same number of layers as well, plus interfacing, plus lining. So that was 8 layers total for each pattern piece. There is a lot of work and craftsmanship that goes into a corset like this. I hand basted all the fashion layers together so they would not shift around while I was sewing, and I made bone-in channels within some of the panels on the interfacing layer. I connected all the pieces, and after grading the seams, I had to do a mix of machine and hand sewing to get the bone-in channels to sit in those seams. You can't see any of this from the outside, mind you, nor the inside after putting the lining in, but the work is all there, and it's so critical to get the fit of this garment that I wanted. After sewing everything together, I finished up the bottom seam with some bias binding, which was also sewn half by machine, but the inside was finished by hand. And to add a little bit of pizzazz, I sew a rhinestone chain right above, carefully catching it every other stone. I feel like this gives the bias finish a bit more of an intentional look. And it tied into the choker that I made later with some leftover lace trim that I had and some beads and sequins. I used this lace trim on the sleeves as well, which ended up being made out of the lace fabric, finishing at a point with some pearl buttons on the side. So after all that was left was making all the eyelets, which I ended up covering with embroidery floss to cover the metal and make them melt more into the dress. Up to like a couple days before the wedding, I was still embroidering these things. Plus the veil that I also made the day before the wedding. You will see it in the photos. It was so much work, so many months, literal blood, sweat and tears went into making this. It was a labor of love that I will remember forever. And I felt so beautiful that day. My lovely friend did my hair exactly how I wanted it, and I did my own makeup, and I was surrounded by so many people that I loved that morning and that day. Getting ready is half the fun of going out, I always say, and this was no exception. It fills me with such joy, and I am so grateful that so many people came together that day to celebrate our love. I don't have any videos from that day, sadly, but I do hope that these photos show how happy I was. I had dreamed about my wedding day for years, and I could not have wished for a more perfect day. So thank you all for tagging along on the journey. I meant to do a more serialized version of this, but life happens and you gotta roll with the punches, and I was so focused on getting it finished on time that time got away from me, and then it became too overwhelming to tackle. I'm so sorry about that. But I really do hope you liked this video. If so, please feel free to give it a thumbs up so the YouTube gods are happy even if I didn't upload much in the last months. And I do hope you stay for future adventures. Learning how to pattern draft is being quite the challenge, and I am so excited for what 2026 will bring. You're very welcome to follow along if you want and see what's in store. I love you so, so much. Stay creative and ta-ta!